Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Universus Academy podcast. I'm your host, John Jennings. With me tonight, I have my co-host, Mr. Matt Childress. Matt, how we doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Doing good, HLC is come and gone. We all know, shout out to Kevin Broberg taking it down.
Congrats, Kevin, man.
Congrats.
It down.
And
Rochester
to,
in the
I was going to say, and just Rochester in general, they had a really good showing.
Yeah. Well, they're a really good group of players. So
yeah.
Not surprised.
Very much, yeah. But yeah, Kevin takes it down with the Chaos Midnight, and
my girl.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've been a Chaos Midnight stan for a while, so I'm sure you were happy to see that.
Yeah. Well, and what's really cool is I've looked over his list since the event ended and all, and it's cool to see so. I was playing her in set 2 is when I really felt like she kind of came into a viability, and then I didn't really mess with her much yet with set 3. Just where other things I was interested in playing. Not because I didn't think she was any good. I just wasn't sure where she would go, right? How she would fall.
Yep.
But Pippa did. And Pippa and I played at Nats, and Pippa beat the brakes off of me. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's pretty cool. I'm glad Another Midnight still got some legs. And then
she got
Kevin,
some legs.
Yeah, right. And then Kevin was inspired by that Pippa list and worked with Pippa to kind of get it to where he got it. So I can't claim to be the grandfather of the deck, but
I mean, just
told me that I wasn't the grandfather of the deck, so it's cool. It's cool. I'm all for it. It was really exciting to see.
Yeah, and congratulations to Philip as well. Came in second playing Air Giro. Congratulations, one of the 6 Air Giros on day 2.
Dude,
I
everywhere.
was gonna say, I think
Giro, the next K2.
Yeah, it was Air Giro had the most, and then I think it was a tie maybe between Eraserhead and Tokuyami.
Yeah, it looks like there's 4 or so Eraserheads. And
4 Erasers, I believe. 4 Tokuyamis. Yeah. Couple of Asuis, maybe just one. There's 2 Asuis I'm seeing. And then kind of a smattering of a bunch of different stuff.
Hagakure 2 had 2 also, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, Toru 2. 2 All Mights, an Endeavor, Dabi, a couple of Ojiro 2s, including Keenan Meadows, friend of the pod, playing Ojiro 2 on Earth. And also, big congratulations to Keenan. If you didn't see it, he and Ashley got engaged at the HLC.
Yep.
So, congratulations to you guys.
Way to steal the show, Keenan. Everybody was like, this guy won a tournament. But
I was going to say, Kevin may have won the tournament, but I feel like Keenan won the day, if you know what I'm saying.
Right? Or Ashley did. I don't know. It depends on who you think's really, winning out there.
Well, she has won a world championship more recently than Keenan.
You're right.
So,
are you trying to say that, Keenan, if you can't win a world champion, just marry
someone
who can?
Well, no, that's Keenan. Matt's saying that, not me. But
they know I have nothing but love for both of them. I'm super excited for
when
them.
you guys get registered. Let us know where you get registered. We'll send you some gifts or something, man. I don't know.
Oh yeah. And my invite. I'm looking forward to my invite. I've known them the whole time. Yeah. We go way back to the day.
I will say, looking over the list of the top 32, not sure where it was originally posted, but on UVS Ultra they have there's a listing of them. I gotta say the biggest standout to me was in 5th place, Cody playing Recovery Girl.
Yeah, so he's made a few posts about this on social media stuff since then. He's basically saying he's like, hey, don't play this unless you have untimed rounds. That was basically his mentality going into it, is I got untimed rounds, I'm gonna play Recovery Girl. And I guess he figured out a way to make it work for him. It's the thing everybody was afraid of, right? So
but yeah, so I and there was also a Death Arms. I was happy to see a Death Arms at day 2. I like Death Arms.
It wasn't Tim Keefe playing it, was it?
No, it was David Pena.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? He didn't play Uraraka?
I know. He didn't play it off Death either. It was on Earth.
What are you doing? What are you doing? You gave up on your girl too soon.
Yeah. Was there any real big surprises for you? I don't think Kevin Broberg winning is obviously not a surprise. He's obviously great player. Won several titles and cards. He's got multiple cards, I think, right? From multiple character cards. Yeah. So
assets, all that jazz.
So Kevin winning is, I would say, is not a surprise.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. any one of these 32 players could win the event. And this is something that for anyone who hasn't played in one of these large tournaments, who's kind of new to MHA, haven't played in a world tournament before, or a major of some sort, it just comes down to like, you can only get your deck so good, you can only play so well, and at some point you just kind of need some breaks to fall your way. You know, like sometimes it's just your day, sometimes it's not. You know, like and once you accept that about the game, doesn't mean that you just don't prepare and you don't do your best, but you just accept the fact that some days you're going to do your best and you're going to bring your best shot, and it's not going to go your way. Other times it will, you know? So given that, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if any of these guys won, you know, like they earned their spot there. And yeah, so congrats to all of them. If I was going to say a deck that kind of surprised me, I don't know. Like I hadn't really studied the list super hard. I was only able to watch off and on over the weekend.
Same.
I am kind of intrigued that there is a Earth Endeavor 2. Like I like that character. I've actually got him built for our locals this weekend.
Okay.
I want to test that out a little bit. And then I do like that that Ben Lambright was playing my boy Izuku Midoriya 2. He played him off a good. I like the Earth build right now, and apparently I think Ben played the Earth build on Saturday, maybe.
Okay.
I feel like that's what Chris was telling me, because Chris played him on Saturday, and I want to say he said it was Earth, but it might not have been. I don't know. But either way,
I think he said it was Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, that character's just really cool. I really enjoy that character.
Same.
And I yeah, so I like to see that in there, you know. And you know, known Ben a long time, so it's good to see him repping something and making it up there. So yeah, and that's cool.
I will say, I guess, just a quick housekeeping thing I meant to say earlier. So Chris and I actually did record an episode, kind of like a preview for the HLC, and something happened to the audio when I went to produce it. So I'm going to try to see if I can fix it, and we'll just put it out as like a lost episode or something like that. Maybe here like a couple days, see if I can figure out what happened, see if I can get the audio back to how it's supposed to be. And you can see what all of our predictions were and how right or wrong we were.
It'll be new to me also because I wasn't there. So.
Yeah.
But I can tell you my predictions were not right either. So I definitely felt like Bird would probably take it down. And, you know, Dan Nelson got close.
Yeah, he did.
Unfortunately, he ran into Midnight, which is a terrible matchup for Tokiyama.
It's a pretty bad matchup.
It's real rough. And I still think he took it to a game 3. I could be wrong about that, though. I didn't get to watch that round. They had the other game, the Jiro versus Jiro mirror going on. And yeah, I thought K2 was going to show up, which I guess maybe that's the most surprising thing is that there are no K2s on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, these guys all probably played a lot more than I have in the past 2 months since, you know, we had Nats, but I've played him some locally. I still think he's good. I just don't think he's the de facto best character or even the best Earth character. Like I said, I've been playing Midoriya 2 off of Earth, and I really enjoyed that as well. So, but I don't think he got that bad to where he shouldn't show up at all. You know, like people bringing out, like I said, like Endeavor off of Earth over K2 off of Earth. That surprises me. That's kind of cool, though. I'd like to see, you know, like to have seen some of that. Or even David bringing out Death Arms off of Earth instead of K2. Like, you know, like I said, I trust that these guys did more testing than me. So
yeah. But yeah, all in all, it seemed like a really fun event. It seemed like, you know, a lot of the side events and stuff had good participation. Obviously, they had the set 4. I think it was a sealed, technically.
I think so. Yeah, it was sealed. I don't think it was draft. I think it was sealed.
And I guess speaking of set 4, we have, I think, the entire set revealed at this point, except for Plus Ultra cards, right?
Sounds right. Because I think just today the Quirk Pack cards I think came out, right?
They were discovered
online.
Yeah, they weren't officially put out by a Jasco.
Yeah, I think TCG player did what TCG players do, which is as soon as they get something, they post it. Like same thing happened with like the DLC boxes, right? Where it was like, hey, we didn't know who was in DLC 2 until they posted it on here, and then we were like, oh, cool, it's those 4 characters.
Yeah. So if you are interested and haven't discovered it by now and haven't seen, I'm sure they've made the rounds on Discord or other social stuff that the Quirk Pack cards have been revealed, and they're pretty cool. There's some neat stuff going on in there.
Yeah. But
as far as the set 4 cards, we finally have all the characters now, because we didn't have Twice. Twice had not been revealed, I believe.
Yeah,
and Muscular.
Weekend. Muscular, yeah.
Yeah. So we got to see both of those. It's kind of interesting. We have five Muscular. It's another counters character, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, he's neat.
He's neat. He gets, I mean, unsurprisingly, he gets big and beefy, right?
I'd say he gets swole.
He gets real swole. And there's some real unsettling pictures on his attacks.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's just the human physique at its best.
It is peak human condition.
Right, all natural, no steroids.
Look, all I'm saying is Bane would look at this dude and be like, "Dude, let's tamp it down, bro. All right,
He's like,
let's
I
pump the
thought
brakes."
Venom was a hell of a drug.
Yeah,
saying nothing compared to your quirk.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think his character card, where it's like the muscles are slowly coming out of him, I think that looks grosser than any of the other card art. That's like, ugh.
Look, man, that's just Tuesday night at the gym. All right, that's
Right.
this other stuff like double overhead hammer fist. What is? Ugh.
I don't see the problem here, man.
Okay, all right.
Put it up on the scrring for the viewers. They can determine.
Maybe I watched too much Akira as a kid. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
I will say with Twice, he has one card. It's called Measured Violence, and every number on this card is a 2, except for 1.
Right.
The control check. Now, granted, it's not good enough to have a 2 check, but I just think it would have been funny if they'd like somehow made the card good enough to have all 2s and also warrant a 2 control check. I don't know.
Yeah, it would have to have some crazy ability.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that like that's a delicate balancing act, because like being a 2 difficulty attack means you can just like throw it at the end, which I'd like to pause for a moment and point out, like we've had a couple of like 3s. I think this is the first 2. But like these like really low difficulty attacks, like for example, this off of water with prone to dry eyes, like you could just throw this out at like the end of a string and it's got weapon on it. And this thing might be coming across for, an easy, 5-6 damage before anything else. Like it just comes into play that way.
Yeah.
If you got some card draw going on, but point being like, that's not nothing. And, if you throw it on a 6, if it's your 5th card,
I mean, you can do that also. I mean, if you're playing Ojiro 2, he has water.
Yeah.
Just
if it deals damage, your next one gets +2/+2. So play that, pick it on up, do it again. Like, yeah. I'll be interested to see what people do with this card. But these low difficulty attacks, like keep your eyes on that, guys. Like, and Jessica, if you're listening, keep your eyes on that, guys, because historically they know what I'm talking about. There's been situations where they made a few too many 3 difficulty attacks that were very playable, and it led to all sorts of weird things happening in the meta. So,
well, I mean, you get zero gravity capture from set 1. That's a 3 diff. It's a 0 speed, but it does like 4 damage base.
Yeah, something like that. And now you have measured violence. You have the 3 diff from Eraserhead 2.
That also pumps,
where it is.
Yep.
Yeah, so like you got some things here, so those are the ones that come to mind immediately. There might be 1 or 2 others somewhere else. I don't remember, but
none come to mind immediately. But yeah. I do like those those low diff attacks, because it's also like you don't feel bad like poking, because like sometimes you draw you draw your cards, you're like I kind of want to like poke and try to get in there, but the only card I have is a 5 diff. Only got 3 foundations. Probably shouldn't do this just because if I check a 3, it's real bad.
Right. This is not where I parked my car.
Yeah. It just lets you be a little greedier, which it's always fun.
Look, it just reminds me of the Cammy support from way back in the day that you used to like to play all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, here's a 3 diff that makes your opponent discard a card, and you're like, wait, what?
No, that was a 1 diff attack.
There you go. See,
it was a 1 diff attack that you played with Adon and Legendary Blade. So you just put stats on everything. So you're like, oh, I've discarded your entire hand, and here's a 1 diff attack that only does 2 damage base, but I'm just piling stats
doesn't
on
matter.
it. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like anything with stacking damage pumps, like floating ones of any sort, or just free reusable ones, like these kind of cards can become a problem.
Yeah.
So
yep.
It'll be interesting.
What about you? Now we've seen like the whole set. Are there any cards that you're like, oh man, I can't wait to like slam this, or any characters you're like, I gotta try this character first?
So I mean, I'm still really hyped for the new All Might, and that's just like the fanboy in me, right? And I think he's got some cool abilities going on. And much like everyone at the HLC, Shigaraki 3 seems really cool as well. I think All for One will make a splash. Like he seems good and viable. I'm sure someone will figure out something there. Um, I think Dobby could be something. Like he's just kind of all in derpy aggro, and I do kind of love that style of play sometimes. So I'll probably list him up, maybe build him. But yeah, like I don't know. The characters, it's hard to choose immediately because like I also then look at like the old characters. Like there's a new Midoriya attack, and I saw it and I was like, wait, this has Earth on it? Oh man, I'm gonna windmill slam that into my Earth Midoriya 2 deck.
Resolute Rushdown. Yep. Yeah, card's so real good.
Yeah, it's a 6 diff 3 check, 5 high for 6, Echo Punch, and it says enhance. If you have 0 cards in hand, draw a card. So man, I'm gonna play this with Midoriya. I'm gonna, empty out my hand, use my one with natures, and this thing's gonna be unblockable. It's gonna come across for 9 to 10 damage, and then I'm gonna echo it, and I'm gonna do it again, and I'm gonna draw a card. Like this card is gonna just end some lives.
It's also a total sick ass picture, right? Yeah.
It is cool. So yeah, like there's things like that kind of get me more excited. I'm like, oh dude, I can update this deck with this new card. So, yeah. There's some cool stuff. What about you? Anything in particular that's immediately caught your eye that you're like, I gotta play this?
I'm really interested in Twice and Shigaraki. The Shigaraki, he just seems so difficult to play against. I feel like
he's mean.
He's like, I feel like there's not going to be a whole lot of middle ground with that Shigaraki. It's either going to be like we're all overvaluing it and somehow it's not as good as we think it is, or it's just as good as we all think it is, and he's going to be a powerhouse of a deck. I'm leaning towards that one.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of figuring out how to survive with him, right?
Yeah, because he's only got 19 health.
Right, and he doesn't have anything that makes it so they don't attack him. Like, yes, he can give the once per game, and yes, he can -1 it when it really matters. So it's not that he doesn't have any defense. I'm not saying that, but he doesn't like reduce speed on his face, right? He doesn't negate an attack on his face. He's going to require some solid build turns and, like you're saying, some poking, and then he's going to be live, man. I honestly am not convinced this character is not just an amazing mill character, just sits back and just mills you out of the game.
Mill characters, you say?
Oh yeah, yeah. He is that make them check a 5 thing is very real.
Yeah, that's like the because it's not just like with President Mike 2 where it was only your attacks. He's just every attack. He's like, look, man, let's just keep going. Let's keep going. You want to keep attacking me? Let's keep going.
I don't know how that's not a thing. Like, why does that not say his turn? I don't know, but man, it doesn't. So you best get ready for it, boys.
Yeah.
Anytime you play an attack, guess what? Check another 5. Because even when you check them, you're still losing because you lost another card, and you're probably not going to check that 5 now for your next attack.
Yeah, I was gonna say
you're gonna be real sad.
It's either I mean, it's just a win, right? Like, oh, they checked a 3, they got an attack off the top of their deck. Maybe they were going to try to draw a card or something. Well, that's gone.
Right.
Or they had a 5 on top, and so they were going to try to play another attack. Well, that's gone.
Yeah.
And I drew cards.
It's gonna be real good, I think.
So I'm really interested into checking out that Shigaraki. And Twice just seems fun because he's like doing the echo stuff. His support seems fun, and he's just kind of a funny, quirky character. His character, like his the art on his card is cool. I like the green and purple swirls and stuff. I think that'd be really cool XR.
Yeah, I agree. I think Twice is neat. I'll be interested to see his character ability is kind of strange. Like this idea of you playing the same thing or something with the same name twice kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I like it from a thematic standpoint. I'll be interested to see how consistent it is in application. And it does seem like he has some cool cards that kind of help him with that. Like you said, Echo goes a long way for it, right? Because technically you play the card a second time. So that anytime he plays an Echo, it's getting +2/+2 on the second attempt, right?
Yep.
So I don't know. I think it could be cool.
Yeah, and he's like, he has also a character stacker, so that's kind of neat. But yeah, being able to consistently have that, like if it's not an Echo attack that you're playing, being able to consistently make sure it's a second copy of a card or something like that, being a 6-hander, that's kind of a little bit more difficult just because you're seeing fewer cards in general. But he does have, he's got some water, so he's got some card draw stuff going on.
Yeah, when he has finger guns, like it's clearly designed to try to solve that problem, right? The twice, or not twice response, the response commit after you play an attack, add it to your hand. So technically, then you play it the first time. The game recognizes that. Then you commit this, pick it up, and you play it a second time. So it comes in with +2/+2.
Yep.
Like that's cool. But that's a unique foundation. So it's a 6-check though. So he's going to.
I was going to say, look, it is a unique foundation with a 6-check and a good block. Where have I seen this before?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think it's I'm not saying this is like coordinated effort, strong or anything. Yeah. It's just kind of like, all right, let's see. We'll see.
Yeah, let's try it a second time. Let's see how it works out.
Yeah. A second time? With twice? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But so, I guess also one of the things Chris and I talked about in the last episode was the roadmap video, right? So,
sure.
I won't respill everything I said because I'm gonna try to salvage my own words there. But Matt, what were your thoughts, reactions to the roadmap video?
Yeah, I kind of have mixed feelings about it. Like, I think it's awesome that they told us, hey, we're gonna have RLEs in these places. You know, if I remember correctly in the video, they said they're only gonna do 2 seasons this year instead of 3. So that kind of sucks. But I guess it's probably just 2 longer seasons, which makes me wonder if they're going to correspond with set releases, because that's kind of how the seasons went last time. Is they were plus or minus a few weeks from a set release. So hopefully that doesn't mean we're getting fewer sets this year, because they were also talking about like set 5. I think they were talking about in the video also, like, yeah, set 5 is going to come out and this and another, and they're talking about how it's not going to have, first edition. It's just going to be one standard edition or whatever. So that's the thing, I guess. But anyway, the roadmap, griping from a personal standpoint, there were like none of those events that I can make it to outside like maybe the online one. And that kind of feels bad to know, like, hey, here's the events for the first 6 months and you can't play in any of them.
Yeah.
But they also, what I think would have softened that blow would be if they had told us more about this whole store championship stuff. Like, we did store provisionals towards the end of last year, like October-ish or whatever. And if they're just store provisionals, and that's fine, and that's how we're gonna get provisional promos from now on, and you can just have them in your store. But like, what are the requirements? How many people do you have to have? How many can you run? Like, is it once a month? Is it like every one a season? Like, what is it? And they talked about how those are how you're supposed to get to Nats. Like, I'll just be honest, I hate the idea of Nats being invite only.
Yeah,
I think that's stupid.
Yep.
Like even further, I think it's stupid because what they gave out at Nats this year was trash. Like, your entry, your prizes were trash. Those promos literally don't sell for anything. Even further, I played in teams, got top 3 in teams on Sunday, and I played through all 9 rounds, and I didn't leave with a playset of all 4 cards.
Yeesh.
Right. And now you're going to tell me I have to grind my way to get into that event? That's trash.
Yeah.
So if you're going to make... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, it also feels bad to, like, in the same breath, say, hey, thanks for coming out, making this the biggest event in person we've ever had. Also, we're going to gatekeep it harder now.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, we want the game to grow, but we don't want everyone to be here for it. Like, it doesn't make sense. And, like, even for me as a spectator, like, I wasn't that hyped for the HLC. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that I have a whole bunch of friends who were playing in it, I probably would have forgotten it was even happening. Because I couldn't go to it, and I love traveling for events, and I go to Worlds anytime that I can, and it's just, I don't know. I don't think making events invite only solves anything unless it's just capacity. Like, you just don't want to get big enough venues, and you don't want them to become multi-day events or whatever, Like, I get it solves that issue.
But I don't think it's kind of.
I don't think it. Yeah, but I don't think it adds like value to anything there. Like, for example, the promos they got for the HLC, I'm just going to say it, those are trash also.
Because it was just reprints of the
3
the RLE
regional characters. Yeah, with an additional stamp on them. That's trash. I'm sorry. Like, what that reeks up to me is that we weren't ready for this. And like, you hyped up the HLC all year long, and I get the money's the real reason people were there. And we're not going to go into the pay structure of the payouts, but I'm just saying, like, gatekeeping things more, and not explaining how you're going to get there, feels really bad.
It does feel bad. And that's something that Chris and I had talked about as well. It's like, it's one thing if you want to say, hey, we're doing this based on the store championship, but like you said, but then also there's no information as to what else is behind this. So it just leaves us to speculate wildly. And, as card players, we're obviously going to, we're inclined to think the worst and be pessimistic about everything, right?
Right. Well,
so we're just going to come up with like the own worst thoughts of like what this means. And in actuality, like probably, there will be enough of like anybody from your store who's like good enough to actually go to one of these things and win. There'll probably be, you would hope, enough opportunities to win a store championship or something, or even if you don't have to win it, maybe you just have to like make top 2 or top 3 or 4 or something. But we have no idea. We have literally no idea.
Right. And like, it's different if you're saying like, hey, Nats is going to be invite only, but we're inviting 500 people.
Yep.
So I'm saying like that's a totally different conversation. Like if you set the amount that you're inviting to more than you've ever had attend the event, that's a totally different conversation. But odds are, given the one invite only event you have done, it was 32 people. I'm willing to wager, let's just say you double it, right?
To 64.
And it's 64. It's a 64 person tournament. And that way you can have your top cuts and then just have top cuts on day 2, right? Instead of what they did for the HLC. But point being is that we just don't know enough. And like, I don't think pitching that just as a general idea without the supporting information gets people excited about it. Does that make sense? And I think that's what that video was intended to do, was to get people excited about the new year. And I had an adverse reaction to that information. I was like, oh, awesome. Because I mean, I'm an adult. I got other life obligations, and I get that they're not making the card game just for me. I'm not advocating that they are, but I have played it for a very long time and competed and traveled to a lot of things. And I would like to still be able to go to these events. And like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to the HLC to sit on the sidelines and play inside events.
Yeah,
if I scrub out, whatever, I'll play an inside event. But like I want to at least try.
I guess I will say the one thing that I don't know that was advertised about the HLC was the prize ball or whatever, which apparently they had, you could redeem for like old RLE promos. So like RLE1 promos you could get copies of. And honestly, for like the HLC competitors, I bet you they would have all said, hey, can I get some electric jolts instead of these characters? Can I get some zero grav lifts, some special sounds?
Why didn't they all get like a set of those? You know what I'm saying? Like if they clearly have extras of them, why didn't they get sets? Why didn't they get champion copies or contender copies or whatever of the character cards and stuff that they gave out for provisionals and all these others? Are like sweeten that pot, like I don't know. It's just,
I do like the idea of the prize wall though. Like bring that to the in-person RLEs or something like that, right?
Sorry,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. They did that in Worlds in the past. They would have like basically carnival games you could play on the side, and you would get tickets or you could win boxes and other things like that. And that's a very Vegas thing.
Yeah.
So they kind of lean into that, and that's really cool, and it is a lot of fun. And like that's awesome. And I hope everyone who went had a great time. Everyone I've talked to who went had a great time. So like I don't want this to seem like I'm just poo-pooing on the idea, but specifically talking about the roadmap, there wasn't a lot that got me excited. It's great that they have a plan. That does get me excited. I would like to and I know they're trying to, space out the information and kind of, they have their own timeline for when they want to distribute that sort of stuff. But as is, I was not immediately like, oh yes, finally,
Yeah. And I think that was my biggest takeaway. Like it was a video of a lot of cool ideas, but it was all like, we have an announcement to say that we're going to have more announcements later, because there weren't really like the RLE1 dates, or not RLE1, but the first set of RLEs. I think those dates had already been released, right? So those were kind of a known commodity going into that video.
Yeah, there was some post or stream or something that they had posted on once before. I think one of the webcam Wednesdays or something like that they did.
Yeah, so that really wasn't new information. I don't even remember if they actually mentioned the dates in that video, but it was a lot of like, hey, here's like general things we're gonna do, and it's kind of like, well, when are you gonna do them, and what's the surrounding information? And we didn't get any of that. So that's like, right, like you said, it's like, okay, cool, we just know there's gonna be sets and events. Guess what I knew last year, there are going to be sets and events. Right.
It was a well-produced video.
It was,
Ty did a great job anchoring it. There was a lot of good in the video. Yeah, and Paul and Luan both did a great job. And I do appreciate them getting in front of everyone and kind of being there and presenting themselves to the community. I think that's all great. I think that's something that will only benefit them more and more, because even if it's not being totally transparent, like we're complaining about of not knowing all the information, it is good for people who don't know them, who haven't gotten to go to events, to see,
Sure
hey,
enough,
these
yeah.
are the guys who own the game. They're
Mhm.
they're totally just, normal gamers like me. Like I think that's a wise decision on their behalf. So
Yeah, just in the future, give us more details if you're gonna like reduce event capacity. We need to know how we're getting there like quickly.
right, right,
Because we still
like
because
yeah,
we still don't know. They still haven't really
right.
said.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks, right, or a little over a week or more, and still
Yeah.
no additional information. Which they were all traveling, I'm sure, from the HLC,
Mm-hmm.
and hosting that big of an event takes a lot out of you. So,
It does.
um, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. That's kind of to be determined.
Mm-hmm. It's like in the short term, I'm excited about set 4. I think there's a lot of cool stuff going on with set 4, and I'm excited to get into locals and stuff with set 4 and see what we're gonna do and have fun with those cards.
Right.
Big picture, who knows?
Yeah, well, and I do think the idea of what they were kind of trying to drive home, which is like we want the competitive scene to start at your locals. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a great idea. I think the more things you can do to support local communities, the better the game is.
Mm-hmm.
Because like as you know, like our local scene, it's hard to get people to come and play. Like even just trying to coordinate schedules and find a day or two where we
Mm-hmm.
can play, it's challenging. But like if you're giving up better and better rewards and enticing people more and more to come to those, then I think that could benefit you because it gets them in the stores. They buy more stuff. They have better collection. They were really trying to push sealed play. So they even came out with additional sets of promos
Mm-hmm.
just for sealed play support, like the alternate arts there,
Mm-hmm.
the extra credit ones or whatever. Like that's cool. But yeah, I mean, like I do think that more information about the store level stuff in particular will then kind of snowball into it. And to be fair, we had the same questions and concerns last year
We did. Yep.
as organized play started up, and like they're clearly pivoting to something new. One of the things that I was curious about is like in that video, they did not mention the $250,000 prize pool again.
They did
And
not.
I feel like that's something that you definitely want to still focus on. Like, yeah, we'll be back and we'll still have this going on. And they just kind of didn't talk about it. So I'm curious if that's still happening or not, because that's a lot of money.
It is, and I'm sure that was a
Roberg
big.
walked away with 6 figures. I saw the check.
Yeah. Yeah. Just whoever in the same place at the same time, Broberg, dinner's on you. That's all I'm saying, right? But yeah, like that, and I'm sure that was a huge enticement for people to play the game. It's like, oh, I already like this game, but also there's this tournament where I can win $100,000 plus. All right, cool. Yeah, I'll check this out. See if it's worth investing time and effort into.
And even further, we didn't even know the payout scale
Mm-hmm.
until what a month or so before,
If that.
2 months maybe. Yeah, like it was not long. So point being, people got into the game under the idea of this payout. Does that make sense? And then once they saw it, they probably happy, not happy, whatever, another conversation. But they were already committed. And I think you did entice some really good players to the game because of that. And even further, just like some other people who maybe were playing other card games competitively, but they came over to our card game now, and now they're part of that community and they love the community. But like, if they're not able to win their money, I mean, is it worth traveling to all these events and do that other stuff? Like, you got to make it worth their while.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And there's always a shiny new thing as far as card games coming out, right? Like, what are you doing to be in the forefront of everybody at that store's mind? Like, oh, I've got to like keep up with set 4. I got to keep up with set 5 so I can know, like, so I can have my shot ready for the HLC or Worlds or whatever.
Right. When it's that delicate balancing act, also, like you don't want to oversaturate your own consumers, right, and give more products than they can possibly keep up with. But at the same time,
Don't tell that to Hasbro.
Yeah, you need that steady drip though, still, right? Like where there is something around the corner where they're kind of excited about it, whether that's spacing out DLCs in between sets or what's that other thing, the class box
Class
thing or
reunion.
whatever. There you go, yeah. But like those sort of products to just have sprinkled in between sets to kind of like keep them interested, introduce a couple new cards, kind of thing. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens over the course of the year because we got set 4. We know when that's coming out.
Yep.
We know set 5 is coming out this year. That's about it as far as product.
Yep. I kind of would have expected there to be something mentioned about set 6 in that video if they were really going to try to make it this year, but I really can't see there only being 2 sets this year at the same time.
Only going to be 2 seasons. Yeah, I agree. I think 3 is the sweet spot. I think a new set every 4 months is a good pace to maintain. And if you introduce like a DLC in the middle between those, or some other product that introduces a few new cards, it gives people time to get it. The meta, by the time the end of that 4 months, it'll be pretty well established, and then it'll get fresh again.
Yeah.
So that's exclusively the Matt Childress theory on how you should release CCGs with my extensive data and research being my own consumer habits.
Yeah. Yes. I was say, you know who else agrees with the only 3 sets a year? My wallet, my bank account.
Right. My disposable income.
Yeah, which is not a lot.
Yeah. Please don't put out 4 or 5. I can't keep up.
Yeah.
I have a problem.
Yeah. It's like that weird thing where it's like, I don't want there to only be 2 sets, because then that's bad for the game in general. It's bad for the life of the game, because it creates, like you said, stagnation. You don't want more than 3 though, because then I just can't afford it, and I just gonna have to wait on, like, all right, this set came out, all right, I gotta wait. Now I can buy all the cards I wanted from the other set from the last set, because all the prices are gonna drop, hopefully.
Right. You just gotta hope that, like you said, the secondary market saturating. Like, all right, cool, give me some rares and ultra rares on the cheap. Chrome rares in every set, guys.
Yeah, for real. Just tank those prices, baby.
The market has done since flooded, and it is deep underwater at this point.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think. There really hasn't been obviously a whole lot of news. The biggest news and everything was the HLC coming back from that, and we're a month at this point, I think, from set 4. So you have sealeds in 2 or 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, pre-releases will be, I think, in like 3 weeks or so. And that'll be cool. And clearly the people who went to Worlds got their hands on cards, and like both the secret rares got spoiled now because, or previewed or shown, or I don't know what you call them at this point, because they're in people's hands.
Yeah.
But like you got some cool stuff going on there. So I'll be interested to see how the hype around set 4, now that it's all been shown almost a month ahead of time, like if it can continue that momentum, because, all the other times, like set 1, we didn't even know there were secret rares, right? And then we get them and like, whoa, what's this card? And there was like hype around that online, right?
Yeah.
And then it was Chrome rares in set 3. I guess set 2 didn't really have anything super hype about it outside the fact it was just a second set, so it was just expanding and adding in new characters and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the set looks good. I mean, like, there's a lot of cool stuff. I'm glad the villains are kind of getting their time to shine,
Yeah.
Because this anime has, and this story has some really cool villains, and they're actual characters. So I'm glad they're actual characters in the game as well.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where it goes. And I'm also excited for I would think, the return of more playable secret rares on the topic of secret rares.
Oh, man. Yeah. Hold Hostage is a hell of a card. If y'all don't know, just go ahead and know. I mean, it's a 5 diff action. That's the thing. But it is a hell of a card. It's gonna disrupt all kinds of turns and all sorts of kill attempts. And oh, man.
Just removing cards from your opponent's hand on their turn. Seems,
and also seeing their whole hand.
Also seeing it, yeah.
Yeah, like, now granted, this card sits in your card pool, right? So like, you're gonna do this on their first attack. So like, it's gonna become this weird like cat and mouse game of like trying to bait out their hold hostage once you know they're playing it. It's kind of like Zero 1's ability, where you're just kind of hoping the whole time they don't use it at that exact perfect moment, but somehow they always do. Like, it's going to be similar, which, by the way, Sarah can run this because he has Void on him. But, but yeah, like, I think this card is going to be really cool to see how it comes in and how it disrupts things, because that's what it's designed to do, is to mess up those offensive kill turns. So, like, if they got the perfect block zones, or they just snipe out that one card that they couldn't perfect block, and then they're like, all right, good luck. That card's gone for good, man. Yeah. And then even if they pull it off, they have to destroy a foundation to add the remove card to their hand. Now, it doesn't have to be ready. That is worth pointing out. They can destroy a committed foundation. But they still got to lose a resource. So,
yeah. I'm excited for the set. I'm excited to get these cards. I'm excited to play Spinner because I want to play some weapons and put stats on cards. I like doing that. That's fun.
Oh, yeah.
And to play his ridiculous giant attack that's just all the stupid blades and together.
Isn't it called like just giant sword or something like that?
It's something ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't remember, something along those lines. Big honking sword or something. I don't know. Like,
oh my god! If that were the actual title, that would be amazing. It is.
Really,
it's just really big sword.
Really big sword. Yeah, I mean, not big honking sword. All right. You heard it here first, guys. You can call that card Big Honkin' Sword from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that card's nuts.
Yeah.
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 What I guess I'm excited about also is like it seems like there's some 1s and 2 checks, but their power level seems to be going up. You know, like where these cards are probably going to find their ways into decks, and like clearly Jiro was running rampant with Sound Waves, right? That's a 2 check that earns that 2 check, but it doesn't. It itself enables ending games. It doesn't end the game, right? These cards might just end games. Like they are beefy, and yeah, I'll be interested to see how this plays out. Like, are we about to get into a meta that's like super fast, where it's like, all right, these attacks, I just draw these and I go, and you're done. You know, like you got Dobby just sitting here casually adding 3 damage to everything. Like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, right?
Yeah. Dobby's never thrown an attack that doesn't do at least 7 damage.
Yeah. And then you got Muscular, who's just gonna again, much like Nomo, who's just gonna pump stats on cards. Just
yeah. Yeah, and he's got that cool mechanic also where it's like he can build things down like from his card pool.
Yeah, that I guess that's also another thing I forgot about Muscular that I like a lot is that you want to flood my card pool? Cool, I build it down. Yeah,
well, and like he also just goes and like for his face does something along that lines, doesn't it? Like
that's what I'm saying. His response after you take damage from an unblocked attack, you take a face down card from your card pool and build it.
Oh, I thought it was just you take a foundation from your card pool and you build it face down.
No, response after you take damage from an unblocked attack, build 1 card in your card pool face down.
So it doesn't even have to.
It doesn't have to. No, yeah. It just when you build it, it just goes face down. So it could be like a face up anything in your card pool. It just goes face down.
Yeah. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's better than I thought it was.
Yeah, it's like, suck it, Mineta 2.
Yeah. Well, because I know his foundations, like he has things that like his foundations has cost
they put up or something like that.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like maybe he adds that in, reduces some speed or damage, off blocks or blocks, gets a counter, builds that thing back down. Like he's gonna have some cool stuff to him.
Oh, for sure. Just so unsettling to look at.
Yeah. I'm gonna get the XR version of it, and I'm just gonna put it on the back. Or I'm gonna get clear sleeves. That's even better. I'm gonna get clear sleeves. I'm just gonna put every normal Muscular on the back, and that'll be my card art for my sleeves.
Yeah, just
for you, John.
It's diabolical, Matt. Diabolical. Well, on that mental image, I think I'm gonna call it on this episode.
Well, guys, if you haven't checked it out, make sure to like and subscribe, do all the algorithm things, leave us comments below. Also, check out our website. I'm still in the process of updating it because they kind of did this huge dump of like a whole bunch of characters really quickly.
Huge dump.
But I'm updating that, as I can with all the characters, some bios, all their support cards. It has been updated to reflect all of your HLC metadata, so you can kind of look at that and see where the game's currently at between Nationals and the HLC. So definitely check out universusacademy.org if you haven't already. And then, of course, like and subscribe. And do all the algorithm things down below. We appreciate it.
Do them. And have a great week. Have a great weekend. Thanks for listening.
Guys, we love you.
Bye.
Bye. All right, whatever. Let's do it. I had to move my light up higher and also because I got a new monitor for Christmas.
Big time now.
Whoop, whoop.